Alright, this is Chapter 2, Section 2. We're going to make histograms, frequency polygons, and time series graphs. The time series graphs you can read about in the book. We're not going to make those. So I have two sets of data here. I have the height in inches of males to a half an inch, and I have the time and hours of kids playing video games, or students playing video games on the weekends. Okay? So I have two different data sets. So we want to make frequency distributions for each, because the frequency distributions that we made in Chapter 1 are the x and y axes to make all of these graphs, essentially. Okay, so in Canvas, let's go to Canvas here real quick. Modules, and you go to Lecture, right? Go to Lecture, because we're in Chapter 2, Part 1. Lecture, go in the Lecture Documents. So the document I'm in right now is right there, and then the actual data is right here. So you want to download the data, right? And then open it up in your file directory in your computer, and then go to your OneDrive at office.com, right? Go to office.com to your OneDrive, and then drop it into your OneDrive, right? Just drag it into here so it pops up. So I dropped it in here, it popped up right here, right? Now I'm going to right-click on that, open it up in the browser, right? Right. So again, we want the Part 2 OneNotes data, which I downloaded from Canvas right here, right? That's the data. Alright, so I opened it up in the browser, and it's right here. Okay, I've already added in some stuff, though. Okay, so what the first thing you want to do is you want to data, and you want to sort the data, basically. Okay, so sort it out so that it's in order. So these are all the adult male heights, right? So you want all of these, which are the same as Chapter 1, right? You can copy and paste from Chapter 1, or you can type these in. So lower class limit, right? And when you hold the Alt key, right, you can get it to one line to the other. So if you don't hold the Alt key, it just goes to the next line when you hit Enter. So the key is between each word, hit the Alt key, basically. Alright, so we need to know how many classes and how big the classes are for this data, essentially. So I think what we want to do is copy this also to the video game also, right? Alright, we'll space that out a little bit. Okay, and again, you want to sort data, sort ascending for this data also. Okay, so adult male height, number of classes. That is the logarithm of, how many data values do we have? We have 100 data values. 100. Divided by the logarithm of 2. Oops, I didn't do that correctly. 2 plus 1. So that is the Sturgis rule that we learned in Chapter 1, right? That determines the number of classes. It's a good estimate. And we always want to do proper rounding there, right? So the rule is proper rounding. Again, refer back to Chapter 1. So the class width is the maximum value minus the minimum value. Maximum value is 74. The minimum value is 60. You want to divide that by the number of classes. Whether I do that's the pre-rounded number of classes. Let's say I did the same thing again, right? So we'll copy this formula, right? I'm going to copy that formula, but we're going to divide it by the rounded number of classes, right? So this is the pre-rounded number of classes. This is the post-number rounded of classes. So either way, we get slightly different answers, but the rule is you always round up for the class width so we don't lop off one of the numbers, basically. You don't want to truncate and have a space for one of the numbers to go. Okay, so this starts at 60, not 1 or 0. This is not kindergarten or first grade. We're not counting here. The first number is 60. That's the lower limit. This goes to 60 plus 1 more. Well, why is that? Well, the width is 2, so a number plus another number is 2, correct? And you take this number and add 1. Then you can drag it down and drag it down, right? So all of these have a width of 2, right? Width of 2, width of 2, width of 2. But I only need 8 classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All the rest of these can go away, right? So my data should fit in here between 60 and 75. So if I look 60 to 75, we're good. Okay, so we can put in the class intervals, 60 to 61, 62 to 63, 64 to 65, 66 to 67, 68 to 69, 69, no, what am I doing? 70 to 71, 72 to 73, 74 to 75, right? Okay, so the boundaries to make sure the numbers fall within the groups is one more decimal place than the actual data. Because the problem is, where does 60.5 go? Does 60.5, I'm sorry, 61.5, 61.5, does that go here, or does that go here? Well, 61.5 is higher than this, but lower than this. So we need to go one more decimal than this. So if this is one decimal place at most, this needs to be 2. So 59.9995 to 61.95. So now this is 2 decimal places where the data is only 1. So then I go here, 61.95 to 63.95, and then 63.95 to 65.95, and the question is, where does 61.5 go? Well, that goes in this category, right? It falls into there. So exclusively, every one of these numbers falls into one of them now as a result. 65.95 to 67.95, 67.95 to... What did I do? Wow, I clicked it. Sorry, I clicked my mouse by accident. 69.95, 69.95 to 71.95, 71.95 to 73.95, 73.95 to 75.95. Okay, so they all fall exclusively within one category. All right, we'll box this up. Home and box. Okay, remember you can change the ribbon too if you want single ribbon or classic ribbon. It's up to you. All right, midpoint is the max and the min added up divided by 2. Okay, so halfway between there is actually 60.5, which you could probably figure it out, but typically it's more numbers than this, so it's harder to figure out. So it's just usually calculate it and drag it down. Okay, and this will look slightly different if you're using the local version, but I'm only using the online because it's the same for everybody. Frequency, so between those values there, right, 59.95 to 61.95 would include those. So use your boundaries, not your intervals, because the boundaries will include every number. The intervals might not. So that's 5 there. Okay, and then 61.95 to 63.95, that would be 3 values. 63.95 to 65.95 is going to be, look down the count down there in the bottom right, is 15, right? And then this is going to be a tough one, 65.95 to 67.95. So that's 65.95 to 67.95. So that's going to be a count of 40 values. 67.95, so that's 68 to 69.95 right there. So it's a count of 17. 69.95, so 60, so that'd be 70, and it's going to go to 71.95. That's right there, so that's going to be a count of 12. All right, what do we got left here? 71.95 to 73.95. So that's a count, no, 73.95. This is a count of 7, and there's 1 left over. Okay. So 7 and 1. So the way you check to see if this is right is you add them up, right? Clickety-click. Got 100, which is correct as 100 values. So total equals, that's correct. Okay, next is relative frequency, which is a probability. So 5 divided by 100. 5 is 5%, right? But if I drag it down, it's wrong, right? Because I need to put the dollar values in there, right? And then drag it down. Perfect. So now if I do the sum, I will get 100%. Right? Perfect. So no, that's correct. Okay, so we already have that over here for the video game hours. So now we want to just copy these perhaps over there. Paste those over there. Delete, 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 delete. Okay, so the logarithm, equals the logarithm of how many values are there? There's only 25 values here. 25 values divided by a logarithm of 2, right? Because remember, this is the Sturgis rule, correct? It's really log base 2, but this is the way you have to do it in a spreadsheet to get around that, because you can't do subscript. Okay, so the rule is you have to round properly, so that's a 6. Class width, you always round up so you don't leave any numbers off, which in this case is going to kind of screw it up for us, but that's okay. We'll talk about that. So max minus the min, right, divided by the number of classes, or max minus the min divided by the number of classes, right? So whether you do this one or this one, it's approximately the same. Either way, the rule is round up, you know what I'm saying? So you don't lose one of the values on the end. Sometimes it comes bites you in the ass like it's going to this time, but that's fine. Okay, so this one actually starts at 0. Rarely do they start at 0 or 1, but sometimes they do. So I see a lot of people on these ones here, like the tobacco one and all those, they'll put actual 1 or 0 there and have a ridiculously large first class, but don't do that. Do not do that. All right, so 0, and this is 0 plus, the width is 5, so I'm going to add 4, right? Because a number plus 4 more numbers is 5 numbers. So 0 to 4 is 5 numbers. And if I add 1 more, I'm at 5, so if I drag it down, okay, now these are all width of 5, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is 5 numbers. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is 5 numbers, right? But I only need 6 classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't need these. So everything should be between 0 and 29. 0 and 29, we're good. Okay, so 0 to 4, 5 to 9, and oh, this is not working, right? That's fine. You're just going to click on those. You're going to go to General under Home, right? Home, General, and then change that to Text, right? So 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, and then take those and center them. Okay, so boundaries. My data has 2 place values, so I need to go to 3 in my data, because the problem is, right, if I look at my data, where does 9.95 go? Does 9.95 go here, or does 9.95 go here? It's not clear. We need to have exclusive categories. So this is 2, we need 3. So 0 to 4.995. That's just 3 decimal places. And you're like, well, wait a minute. The 0 doesn't have any decimals. That's fine. If your data actually has negative values, you can go the other way. But if it doesn't, you can just stop at 0. You don't need to include that one. So this is a specialty case one, which is why I include it. So 4.995 to 9.995. So clearly now this 995 goes in this one, right? Okay, so we're actually inclusive. 9.995 to 14.995. 14.995 to 19.995. Okay, so again, the goal here is to have more decimal places in my boundaries than the actual data. Since the data has 2 decimal place values, I want 3 in the actual boundaries, so now I'm including everybody. 29.995. Okay, midpoints, you can actually use these or these for the, you'll get the same. But I recommend using these ones because you can click on them, and it's much easier to calculate, right? Oh, what did I do? Oh, add, sorry. Add them up, divide by 2. Classic midpoint formula, correct? Okay, so halfway between 20 and 24 is 22, essentially, right? Because you have 20 and 21 on one side, 23 and 24 on the other, right? Which means 22 is in the middle. All right, frequency, 0 to 4.995 is going to be those 2. And then 4.995 to 9.995 is those 3. 9.995 to 14.995 is those 4. All right, 14.995 to 19.995 is those 7. And then 19.995 to 24.995 is all of those, which is 9. And there's nothing after 25, so I'm going to put 0, which I was saying, this is the the oddball case where the rounding up actually doesn't leave anything in the last group, right? Which is fine. It happens sometimes whenever you get this whole number type thing that happens. Okay, so all right, let's box this up, and then do total, right? Shove that to the right. So if I add this up, sum equals sum, I get 25, which means I didn't miss any of my counting. That's a self-check. You need that. Because if that's not right, the rest of it's not right. So 2 divided by 25 is 8%, right? So if I drag that down, it will be wrong. So instead, I'm going to do a $sign and a $sign to make sure that this doesn't ever change, right? So now that I drag it down, okay, it's always that 25, right? So 7 out of 25 is 28%. And if I check the total, what I'm going to get is 100%. Okay, so this is perfect. We have our 2 tables now, which is what we did in Chapter 1, is making these tables correct. Let's just make sure we box those very nice. Okay, so if we read the notes here, page 5 is asking us to make a histogram and the relative histogram for both of these. And then page 6 is asking us to make a frequency polygon and a relative frequency polygon for both of these, basically. Okay, so you're going to use the same tables for both, and you're going to review the time series on these pages in the book, basically. All right, so let's go to our adult male data first. So you want to highlight the boundaries, hold the Alt key, or no, Control key, sorry, Control key, and then highlight the frequency, right? So you need these 2 for the histogram. So I want to make sure it's on classic mode here, and then go to Insert, and then the statistical ones right here. And this is the one for the cumulative. We don't need that. And this is the box we'll do later on. We want the histogram for now. Okay. All right. So you notice this histogram only has 2 bars. So the thing is, we need a... Let me drag this down. I don't know why it's not going. There we go. We had 8 classes. This only seems to have 2. Well, I believe you click on the color, right? And then you go down to series. And then the number of bins is on auto. So it doesn't know what rule you're using, whether it's the Rice or Dagnier's or Sturgis rule or some rule. It doesn't have any idea. So instead of set it manually, we're just going to do it by category, which is the Sturgis rule that we had used, basically. Okay, and then we're going to go to click on the graph in any white space, and the chart thing shows up. We're going to do data labels on the, I don't know, center? I don't know. Maybe on the inside end, inside base, outside end. Oh, I like that better. Okay. And then axis titles, horizontal below it. This is the these are classes, right? Each one of these are classes on the bottom, and they are inches of the men's height, right? And then we want to do the axis titles vertical, rotated, and this is going to be frequency. Okay, so we're good so far. You can make this a little bit bigger. We want to change the chart title. So chart title, we just edit, since it's already there, we're going to edit it. Right, so this is a histogram. This is the heights of adult men, right? That's what it was. Okay, so that is a histogram. So you'll copy that to your Word document and save it as a PDF at the end of the chapter for the chapter notes. Okay, so the next thing we want is we want to highlight the boundaries and hold Control and do relative frequency, and then insert statistics histogram. So very similar. So we'll drag this down. Let's make this zoomed out a little bit here. Okay, there we go. All right, so first thing is you want to click on the color somewhere. I believe it's the number on a Mac, and then, you know what I'm saying, and it's to click on the color on a PC, or it could be both for the web. But either way, you either click the color or the numbers and get this thing to pop up over here. And again, go to series and then change it to by category. So it picks the Sturgis rule ones that we did, basically. Okay, so now we want to go to data labels. I believe outside end was the one we picked, right? That works. I looked at that pretty good. Okay, title on the horizontal. There isn't one, so we're going to go below. So this is the classes in inches again. That doesn't really change. Okay, and then we go to the vertical rotated, and this is the relative frequency. Okay, and then the title, edit the title since there's already one there. This is the relative histogram. And this is the height of adult men. Okay, so those are the histogram, two different types. You notice they look very similar, other than the fact that one is a probability, one's an actual count, right? So they're both histograms by definition. Okay, now we want to do the polygons. We're going to highlight the midpoints this time, hold the control key, and then do the frequency, right? So you don't want it all as one group of data. We want two groups of data. So in between highlighting the X and the Y axes, you always want to hold a control key. All right, and we want to do insert. You can also do the recommended too. I don't think the line chart will work properly. Yeah, because it does not give me the option that I want. So let's just do recommended, and then when we scroll through here, we'll find the one we want. There's a nice little line one there. We'll insert it. The recommended works nice too. All right, so we'll go down to here. Okay, and again, we'll click on this, and we will do data labels, and we'll go above. I like that a lot. Yeah, above works pretty good. Axis titles, the horizontal below. What happened? Axis titles. Why isn't it? Oh, it's already there. I'm sorry. I didn't pay attention. Axis horizontal edit. I didn't realize it was already there. So these are the class midpoints. And those are hours that were played for the video games, right? Okay. Wait, no, these are inches. This is the wrong one. I'm sorry. Edit. It's still inches. I'm not on the video game one yet. Okay, and then we want to edit the vertical edit. Right, and this is the frequency. Okay, and then we want to edit the title. Edit the title. This is a frequency polygon, and it is the heights of adult males. Okay. We're good there. All right, and then we also want to do one more. So we're going to go up. We're going to highlight the midpoints. We're going to hold the control key and then do the frequency this time. Relative frequency, sorry. Insert. I'll do recommended again, and we'll just kind of scroll down, find a line, insert it. Okay, and then there we go. All right, so they're already there. We just need to change them. All right, so data labels above. Axes horizontal edit. So this is the class midpoints, and these are inches, and then vertical edit. This is the relative frequency, and then the chart title edit. It's a relative frequency polygon, and this is the heights of adult males. I believe it was, right? I forget what it said. It might have been men, to be honest. Oh, it was men. All right. Well, you can change it to men after. You can just click on it and edit. Not that it matters all that much, but to match what the actual thing said in the problem. And Axis titles, edit, go over. Okay, so you notice they're all pretty similar. They're exactly the same versus relative versus the frequency one, because obviously it should be relatively the same quantity, right? The only thing difference is the y-axis. And then the bottom, it's classes here because it's two numbers, the lower and the upper of the class, right? And here it's just one value because a single point only needs one value. Hence why I use midpoints. All right, so go to the video game hours. All right, let's do the same thing here. So I'm going to highlight the boundaries. I'm going to hold the control key and do the frequency, and then insert, statistical, and the histogram. Okay. We're going to go to the color there, click on it, and go to series, and change it to by category, so it does a Sturgis rule for us. All right, and notice there's an extra one on here, right? Because we didn't actually do anything with those. So we're going to actually delete that. We're going to highlight here and highlight here. I'm sorry, highlight there, hold the control key, and highlight here, right? So notice I'm leaving off the bottom one because it's 0 anyway, so we don't actually need it. So I'm going to do insert statistics, and now you notice when I do this, right, click it, and go to the series and go by category. Now the blank one's no longer there, right? So sometimes that happens because of the whole number thing. Don't worry about it. Just don't highlight it. That's all. It's not needed, right? It's just extra. Okay, so we want the data labels on the end and the bottom. That'll work. Yep. We want the axes horizontal below. So these are the classes, and this was hours, right? Because this is the video game one. And then we want the vertical rotated, and this is the frequency. And we want the chart title edit because it's already there. This is a histogram, and this is the number of hours students play video games on the weekend. I'm going to copy this, not to keep doing it over and over again, save some time. Copy, okay. Alright, so here we go. Alright, and then we'll do, highlight this again. Alright, hold control and do the relative frequency, and do insert statistical. Alright, and then we will, I'm going to cheat here, I'm just going to go chart title, edit, and then paste what I just had. But I'm going to put relative histogram. Okay, click on the color and then change it to category. Alright, let's scroll out a little bit here. There we go. And then you can do the data labels above, and chart axes horizontal you want to put below, and this is the classes. These are in hours. And then we want to put the vertical rotated, and these are relative frequency. Okay, and we'll do the polygons now. So the polygons, I want to highlight the midpoints, right? Highlight the midpoints, leaving off the 0, 1. Hold control and do the frequency. Insert, we'll do recommended, and hopefully it pops up. It did not. Interesting. Not sure what to do about that one. A line graph. What do we have? Line. That's not what I want. Insert. Pie bar. Statistical. Combo. Other charts. Where is it going to be? Oh, that might have been right, actually. That was right. It just has an extra line in there. Let's just delete. So I clicked on that line. I hit the delete key on my keyboard. I don't know why I was doing that. Okay. So all the labels are there. I just got some. Oh, we want to connect the dots though. So data labels. So we want to data labels. I don't know, above? That works good. Okay, so we want to format. We want to connect the dots, though. Where do I connect the dots? Tread line. No, that's not what I want. Not a tread line. Data labels, fill, outline. Where is it? I forget. Well, I'll show you another trick too. We do a local version. So let's file save. This will be good too. So it's saved right now, right, as this name here. So I'll go to my OneDrive, right? But this time I'm going to open it with the actual app, which is the local version, right? So if you do the local version, let's see, miles from campus, adult heights, video game hour. Okay, so we're gonna, and this is the local version, actual install version. We'll do the midpoints, right? Again, hold the control key, then frequency, and then we'll do insert. You can do recommended or the line. We'll do recommended this time, and oh, it's right there. Okay, yeah, the local version is definitely better. I don't have to do as much manipulation. Okay, and then you can do the same thing. Click on this and click on chart. Or you can just click on the little plus right there, and then AXI titles, data labels, and then I can just click on them now. Right, so this is a paste. Frequency polygon. Right, and down here are classes. Class midpoints, sorry. And this is in hours. And over here is frequency. Okay, and I'll click on the midpoints, and then I'll hold the control and do the relative. So insert, recommended, and put the other line graph in there. And again, you can install Office from office.com. You have a free account. So you can do the local version too. Oh, yeah, tread line. No, that's not it. All right. Okay, let's paste in the title here. So this is a relative frequency polygon. Okay, and these are class midpoints, hours. And this is relative frequency. Okay, so what you can see from this is generally this is pretty symmetrical, right, for the men's heights, but the video game hours is very skewed to the left, right? It's not symmetrical whatsoever. So the point of these types of graphs is seeing the general makeup of what the data looks like, okay? And copy and paste all of these to a Word doc for the entire chapter. So sections 1, 2, and 4 all involve graphs. You should copy to a Word doc and save for the submission of the notes for this chapter.